Hey, it's Kenny from Broad Street. Let's talk about 5 big advantages that you have over Google and Facebook when it comes to local digital ad sales. So in our very popular white paper, 10 Advantages, and you can get a free copy of this online in digital form if you go to broadstreetads.com, click on the resources tab and download 10 Advantages. We talk about 10 things that you can do that'll really help you stand out from Google and Facebook and all the other players that are trying to get after that same marketing budget that your advertisers have. We're going to talk about 5 advantages today. If you would like to read about the whole 10, go to Broad Street and download that white paper. The first is the relationship that we can build with our advertiser. This is something that Google and Facebook with its self-serve platform cannot do. It cannot guide an advertiser to a successful campaign. It can only take a credit card and give them a form where they can upload their creatives to run. You as the publisher or the ad sales rep, you have the ability to really be that person in the corner of the ring for that small business and help them achieve whatever it is that they're looking to achieve with advertising. And of course, as part of your job to really dig deep and understand what those pain points are. Maybe they're having trouble getting people in the door. Maybe it's a grand opening and they're having trouble letting people know that they even exist. Just being a human, being that person that they can lean on for a successful campaign is so powerful and something that really even your local competition a lot of the times isn't even doing. The second big item is just showing an advertiser what it is that they're buying ahead of time. If you can point to a position on your page, or even better, spec out an ad and show an advertiser an ad what their campaign will look like on the page at the initial sales meeting, that will go so far in helping a small advertiser, especially someone who might be not very sophisticated, may not know a whole lot about marketing. If you can show them what they're buying ahead of time, that is a huge advantage. And if you think about Google and Facebook, if an advertiser puts their credit card on file, they go through all of the steps to get a campaign up and running or really just boost a post. They cannot tell when and where they are appearing. They don't know who they're getting in front of. And Facebook will of course charge them, but it's not going to give them much in terms of results. You are there with that direct relationship, showing them exactly what they're buying ahead of time. Such a tremendous advantage for small publishers. The third big advantage is creativity and flexibility. With your website, you can do anything that you want. This is the internet. It's HTML and JavaScript. It's a dynamic medium. You do not have to place just standard banner ads, just like Google would do for that advertiser. You can write sponsored content. You can give them a social media shout out. You can give them a banner ad that pops up in front of your users once a day. There's so much that you can't do through automation with Google and Facebook that you can do on your site. So take advantage of the fact that you have complete autonomy and you can do whatever you want to win that advertising sale. A fourth one, and frequently overlooked, is the ability to do section sponsorship. So a lot of times with local magazines or local news publishers, we see that they have like a food and drink section, they have a business section, they might have an obituary section. These are all sections that probably cater to a specific advertiser vertical. For example, a school section or an education section may be a place where an advertiser would love to run a sponsorship. So get that advertiser sponsoring a certain section of your website. Very doable, especially if you use an ad manager like Broad Street, but the ability to do section or even page sponsorships is so powerful and something you can't do anywhere else. Number 5, newsletter placements. Lots of advertisers love to be in the inbox, and some of our publishers say that they make more money off their newsletter than they do on their actual website. So leverage the fact that you have a newsletter that's going out to 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000, or in some cases even 50,000 readers in a given geo or industry, and you can help get that advertiser placed in your newsletter where you typically see much higher click-through rates than you do on the open web. Instead of like a 0.1% click-through rate on a website, you might get something like a 0.5 or even a 1% click-through rate in a newsletter. So leverage that newsletter. Those are just 5 of the advantages you have as a small publisher. There are 10. We wrote a whole paper about it. We got really deep into the inherent strengths of Google and Facebook and scale and all of their data, but also the weaknesses and the things that you can do to keep that advertising budget with you instead of going to those Silicon Valley giants. So go to broadstreetads.com, click on resources, and download 10 Advantages.